Greetings, everybody. My name is Louie Gurrola. I'm a labor specialist here at OCEA, and today we'll be conducting a training on knowing your rights. Just a quick review of what we will be discussing today will be union basics, where to find your MOU, knowing your rights in the workplace, and how to sign up for our email list. So, union power, what is it, right? A union is an organization formed by workers who come together and use their strength to have a voice in the workplace. Through their union, workers have the ability to negotiate from a position of strength with employers over wages, benefits, workplace health and safety, job training, and other work related issues. Since 1937, members of the Orange County Employees Association have stood shoulder to shoulder for fairness at work and in the community. As the largest public sector union in Orange County, representing approximately 18,000 workers, we believe that standing together, we can make positive changes in the lives of employees and their families. So, who are our OCA members? OCA members work for the County of Orange, Orange County Superior Court, and various cities and districts throughout Orange County. So, as you can see, our scope of representation is quite large. The big picture, it is always important to remember that you are the union, and our board of directors here at the County of Orange are reflective of that. Just to give you guys a little insight, the board of directors is a 19-member board elected by OCA members. They are responsible for setting the policies and vision for their organization. Board members serve a 2-year term with elections held on an annual basis. So again, this is just some of the things that we do as your union, right? We do negotiations, which tends to be the most popular portion for a lot of our folks, legal protections, grievances, day-to-day work issues, and benefits, of course. Some of your union basics, again, would be negotiations. This tends to be one of the times that we see a lot of active membership, right? People want to know, what are we going to ask in negotiations? When are negotiations coming? What is negotiations like? And the negotiations team is not just only OCEA staff, but it is actually also membership. We have many folks from various agencies and classifications attending and being part of this negotiations process. We rely on the membership first to fill out their surveys, communicate with their colleagues about negotiation surveys, and OCA staff make site visits to various locations to discuss the importance of negotiations. OCEA then conducts research to help prepare us for negotiations. We look at surrounding counties and cities when conducting this research. And then after we have finally come to a TA on our negotiations, we ensure that the contract is followed, right? In this instance, the contract would be your MOU, your Memorandum of Understanding. So it is important to remember that here at OCA, we are only as strong as the membership and rely on you to keep us in the know of what things are happening in the workplace. This is where OCA stewards are extremely important. Workplace leaders or stewards are the foundation of OCA. Stewards stand in solidarity with coworkers, help solve workplace issues, volunteer to advance pro-worker agenda, and to organize for positive change. So, wine garden rights, what are they? What does that mean? Why does it pertain to me? And it's very important that you know why this is such a big deal when it comes to union representation and your rights in the workplace. So, simply put, an employee has a right to request a union representative in an investigatory interview when the employee has a reasonable basis to believe that the discipline may result from the meeting. The right to union representative applies to investigatory questioning that is written as well as oral. Here are some examples of when you request representation. The employee reasonably believes that the investigation may result in discharge, discipline, demotion, or other adverse consequence to their job status or working conditions. However, it is also important to recognize the difference between an investigatory meeting that can lead to discipline versus a check-in with your supervisor. So as a rep here, one of the questions that I get often is an employee who has never necessarily had a one-on-one check-in with their supervisor. Maybe they've promoted out or they've transferred to a different agency and they are being called into a one-on-one. That is not something that an employee would be entitled to have representation for. If the employer or the supervisor and or manager, they have their rights just as well as you do, right? And they have the right to meet with their employees as they see fit, whether it is to just check in on the employee, see how they're doing at work. If you're new, they won't maybe want to see how you're doing, acclimating to the new processes and procedures of your new job. Or if it's just a simple check-in, right? That's absolutely and totally fine. And at that point, you would not be entitled to representation. However, if you are in a meeting with your supervisor and you feel that you are being questioned in a way that could lead to some sort of disciplinary action, you have the right to ask your supervisor if that could be something that you would need a representative for. If they say no, you are within your right to continue that meeting, right? That's something that we would encourage, continue the meeting. But again, if it seems to be going that route of potential disciplinary items, we want to make sure we ask again and, see if that is something that you are entitled to. But most times, if it's just a check in, you are totally okay. So where to find your MOU? You scan this QR code, it will take you to our website and you could check out your MOU. I always advise our members to have this up ready to go just in case. It's really good information. A lot of the times there's language in the MOU that many folks aren't aware of. That's actually very, very beneficial and it's good to know about. So this is another big ticket item that many folks don't know about, right? And it is your the Myers-Milius-Brown Act. The scope of representation shall include all matters relating to employment conditions and employer and employee relations, including but not limited to wages, hours, and other terms and conditions of employment, and at times processes referred to as past practice, something they once had and now they're doing something new. So this a lot of the times falls within the meet and confer process. This is something where we rely on the department to tell us of changes that are happening, again, something that would affect the wages, hours, and terms of conditions of employment and rarely past practice. And we will meet with the department to discuss the impacts to the employee. Now, depending on the action being taken by the employer, we have the right to make the employer meet with us if it is a management right, like service hours, work locations, staffing. They don't have to meet and confer with us over the decision, but we can request to meet and confer over the impacts. So, meet and confers do not mean meet and agree. They don't have to agree with us, but must meet in good faith. If they don't meet and confer in good faith with us, then we can file what we call a PERB charge, which stands for the Public Employment Relations Board. We don't usually run to this. This is not something that happens often. A lot of the times during our meet and confer process, it is very important that we meet in good faith and discuss impacts to employees in good faith. Very rarely is it something that we would file a perp charge over. Again, it's a lot of operating in the gray. Again, as you have your employees, your rights as an employee, they also have their rights as management, right? To conduct the business and provide the services that they have to for the community. So operating on that gray, a lot of the times it is handled at a case by case basis. So, grievances, understanding the grievance process is very important. What is a grievance? So, a grievance may be filed if a management interpretation or application of the provisions of this Memorandum of Understanding or MOU adversely affects an employee's wages, hours, or conditions of employment. Most times we will file grievances for disciplinary items, but it is also important to know the difference between informal discipline and formal discipline. So I've gotten some calls before in the past, hey, my supervisor gave me a memo of expectations. I want to grieve it. Unfortunately, that would fall under informal disciplinary action, which is something that we cannot grieve, right? So, memo of expectations, summary of conference, performance improvement plan, those are all things that we can't grieve. They're looked at more as coaching opportunities. Therefore, that is not something that we would file a grievance for, or it is considered formal discipline. Some examples of formal discipline would be written reprimands, suspensions, and/or discharge from employment, and other items such as an overall does not meet evaluation, merit increase discrepancies, etc. So, one of the calls that we get often as well is the overall does not meet on evaluation. So, if you get a does not meet on one item, right? Let's say attendance and punctuality, but you have a meets on every other category of your evaluation, that's not something that you could grieve. The only time that you could grieve a does not meet evaluation is if you were to receive an overall does not meet evaluation. So again, operating in that gray area, right? But definitely always feel free to give us a call. More than happy to discuss it with you. So when to reach out. We always encourage members to reach out for any questions pertaining to the MOU. Sometimes the language could be a little bit difficult to interpret. And so we're more than happy to have those conversations with you, help break down the MOU, what language you're looking at, what may pertain to you is may necessarily apply to the MOU that you're reading, right? So starting off and finding the correct MOU that applies to you would be the first step. And we're more than happy to help you throughout that process. Employees can also reach out to us if they have an interactive meeting and EEO complaints that they have submitted. However, please note that our role as reps during that time is more of a support role since you are not facing any sort of disciplinary action. Our purpose of attending this is to help assist throughout either one of those scenarios, right? So we're there to be your support system, be that communicator or mediator between county and the employee, but again, not there necessarily as representation. When it comes to policies and procedures, your agency and department should notify OCEA of changes in their policies and procedures. However, that does not always happen, which is why we rely on you, the membership, to keep us informed. So if you want to scan this QR code is very important. It's important to stay informed on all things OCEA. If you haven't signed up for our email list, please do so. We share important information with the membership throughout this process. So make sure you scan that if you haven't already. So just some final thoughts. Again, the union is only strong with member support and participation. If you're not a steward, please reach out to us. Ask us how you could be a steward. One of the questions that I get often as a rep is, hey, my coworker's already a steward. Does that mean I can no longer be a steward? No, absolutely not. I want everyone to be a steward. We don't limit it, right? We want to have as many stewards, as many active leaders in the workplace as possible. So there's no cap on how many stewards your agency or department could have. So if you are interested in being a workplace leader, please reach out to us. We're more than happy to get you started on the path on being a workplace leader. So if you have any questions, please go to our website. You could go to our website at ocea.org, and there's a tab that states about OCEA, and at the very bottom of that, it says Ask OCEA. You could email us your questions there, or you could always reach out to our office Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, and it'll connect you to one of us, and we will be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope this training was found useful. If you have any questions, again, please feel free to reach out to us. More than happy to answer any questions. Thank you, everybody. And remember that we are Union Strong.